let us execute an immediate, sweeping, analytical vector shift away from multicultural pedagogical hierarchies, early childhood cognitive loops, and the textbook-laden archives of literacy research manuals, and plunge straight into the high-octane, calculation-heavy tracking grids of high fantasy landscape architecture, weaponized fated mate emotional loops, and the fiercely protective, dangerously fragile world of an endangered collection of creative manuscript assets running a raw, tactical survival loop. We are crossing the threshold directly into the hyper-monitored, paranoia-slicked parameters of a scorched magical empire power grid, exploring the lethal analytical parameters of a devastating 99-stage imagination extraction matrix with Write a Romantasy, 99 writing prompts to craft a tale of heart and heroism, prompts for writers, the exceptional, pulse-pounding contemporary creative workbook and literary guide engineered by the absolute, undisputed global sovereign of breathtaking world-building secrets, razor-sharp romantic trope traps, and high-velocity structural friction, Erik Patterson. This high-stakes narrative tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroads where an endangered primary writer asset running an unyielding truth extraction loop, a calculating manipulative shadow network of cliched storytelling devices running an elite proximity tracking and standard sanity eraser routine, and an absolute defense against a terrifying plot hole confined writer's block containment zone collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn creative journeys where endangered, hyper-observant world-building protagonists must navigate an absolute maze of rigged magic system documentation, corrupt enemies-to-lovers character blueprints, and a deadly ring of active personal deadline frame-ups while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised domestic ecosystem where an analytical mind uses deep behavioral profiling, calculated desk space boundaries, and absolute emotional stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory executioner asset, weaponizing highly advanced smartphone distraction mechanics, and where the author utilizes an incandescent, meticulously paced 99-part literary incubator tracking an aspiring romantasy author as they deploy forbidden magic tropes and lethal heartstring tactics to forge an epic tale of gods, monsters, and forbidden desire diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits. This book is engineered to lock you in. Patterson completely dominates the high-precision visceral jeopardy meets suffocating narrative erasure puzzles dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating blank-page paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre vargs like Sarah J. Maas, Rebecca Yarros, Carissa Broadbent, and Jennifer L. Armentrout, while treating realistic royal court logistics, complex dark possessive loyalty arcs, and protective high-density isolation extraction grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central legendary powerhouse creative asset, operating under a severe calculation-heavy handicap of a total loss of editorial safety networks, absolute emotional liquidation logs, and a hyper-visible targeting canvas within an unforgiving publishing framework. Behind our protagonists' rigorous daily footprints, defensive conversational shields, and sharp observation metrics lies an intricate matrix of hidden structural vulnerabilities, deeply buried fated bond instincts, and sharp, high-stakes tactical maneuvers. Her collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight following an abrupt plot outline deviation sequence, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat vectors from an encroaching internal sabotage network, parsing complex behavioral shifts in her daily plotting interaction loops, and shielding her vulnerable personal sovereignty node from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless elite cleaning crew offensive. The tactical parameters instantly explode as their historical and survival warfare turns completely active, transforming the large family living spaces, dark library corridors, and private fortified study rooms into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. Our protective, hyper-vigilant heroine is forced to deploy her massive intuitive tradecraft, elite behavioral mapping skills, and raw physical stamina to preserve her focus before her adversary's relentless, calculation-heavy proximity containment phase permanently deletes her boundaries.
The threat vector remains purposeful and resolute, shifting dynamically through 99 precise execution guidelines from initial magical system building to final emotional climax loops, determined to deploy deep sensory manipulation loops, continuous psychological gaslighting via digital distraction maneuvers, and persistent dominance to shatter her defense, only to realize her hardened survival protocols and shifting counter-narratives match their opponent's raw tactical speed step for step. Every midnight archival excavation of personal legal journals, every silent choice to stand off against an encroaching apex predator behind standard structural barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at her reliance on original peaceful rules. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the Predator Network's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped as Erik Patterson reveals that the true victory requires more than just surviving an initial spatial ambush or managing an invasive friendship disclosure. It demands an absolute, uncompromising defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of domestic manipulation and absolute structural supremacy. While our central characters smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective, absolute web of dark possessive loyalty around their building creative survival alliance, a brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes editorial breakthroughs shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that deep-seated obsession has tracked them to their final outposts. To survive the impending lock-grid trap and permanently secure her sanctuary, our resilient protagonist must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of her final boundary lines. It is a romantasy creative writing world-building captivity noir, plot structure mystery, and high-velocity contemporary puzzle masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one unsubverted plot hole triggers a fatal deadline showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active franchise tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes standoff confrontation, where heavy possessive realization that an elite intelligence operative has completely mapped your personal coordinates carries massive structural weight. Patterson writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the heavy, oppressive atmosphere of a private executive vault before a major corporate takeover, and the distinct, subtle scent of polished mahogany, fountain pen ink, worn leather book covers, cold morning rain, dark adrenaline, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates this contemporary instructional marvel into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes relationship dynamics and genuine protective power tradecraft alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable, superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic modern corporate and high society underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping conclusion with 99 brilliant prompts that delivers total, hard-earned advancement to their horizon. Write a romantasy. 99 writing prompts to craft a tale of heart and heroism, prompts for writers, is the definitive pro-level upgrade your high-stakes contemporary thriller and intense asset suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputtable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell alongside your network to rewrite the data. So, secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the fleet.